especially. And we had the most secure border in the history of our country. 3 years ago, we had the most secure border in the history of our country. We ended catch and release in our country. We had catch and release, but it was in Mexico. We released them in Mexico. We built tremendous hundreds of miles of the wall. We got Mexico to give us, free of charge, 28,000 soldiers right on our border. And we created the strongest border that we've ever had. We got rid of so many things, and for medical reasons, if you were sick, you couldn't come into our country. You know all about that. We had a lot of things. They've given it all up. Now we have people that are not only, in many cases, from prisons and jails and from mental institutions. We have people pouring into our country that are very ill, and diseases that can be passed on to others. And they're coming in by the thousands and tens of thousands. And if you want, I said to my people, should I do it? And they said, well, you could ask, would you like to hear the snake? Does anybody know? You know the snake, right? Should we do the snake? Does everybody have time? It's not too long. So this is a little takeoff on a very successful song from many, many years ago. And it was redone a little bit to make it more pertinent. But I think it is, because we have people coming into our country who shouldn't be here. We have people coming into our country who are going to cause tremendous problems, 100% certain that there'll be terrorist attacks in the not-too-distant future, 100%. That's a pretty big statement. So we did this, we wrote it, and people really understand it. It's very understandable and beautiful and tragic, both at the same time. On her way to work one morning, down the path along the lake, a tender-hearted woman saw a poor, half-frozen snake. Her pretty colored skin had been all frosted with the dew. Poor thing, she said, I'll take you in, and I'll take care of you. Take me in, O tender woman, take me in, for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman, cried the vicious snake. She wrapped him up all cozy in a comforter of silk and laid him by the fireside with some honey and some milk. She turned away from him and looked him in the eye. She said she finally had arrived, and now she could be happy taking care of this magnificent creature. Take me in, O tender woman, take me in, for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman, cried the vicious snake. She clutched him to her bosom. You're so beautiful, she cried, but if I hadn't brought you in by now, you surely would have died. She stroked his pretty skin again and kissed him and held him tight. But instead of saying, thank you, ma'am, the snake gave her a vicious bite. Take me in, O tender woman, take me in, for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman, cried the vicious snake. I saved you, cried the woman, and you've bitten me, but why? You know your bite is poisonous, and now I'm going to die. Shut up, silly woman, said the reptile with a grin. You knew damn well I was a snake before you took me in. That's what's happening on our border. We're allowing people to pour in. We're allowing people to pour into our country. They shouldn't be allowed to pour into our country. They're going to cause tremendous problems. And again, mental institutions, they're coming in from everywhere, and it's a very sad thing. This is not going to turn out well. And the biggest problem I have, even with the election, is 10 months is a long time. 10 months is a long time. These people have done such damage to our country. I would oftentimes say in speeches that if you took the 5 worst presidents, I then changed it to the 10 worst presidents. If you took the 10 worst presidents in the history of our country and added them together, they wouldn't have done the damage that Biden has done to our country. It's true. It's true. This border problem is a big problem. This is big. This is big stuff. On day one, I will terminate every open border policy of the Biden administration, and we will begin the largest domestic deportation operation in American history. We have no choice. We have no choice. We don't want to do that. We have no choice. Dwight Eisenhower, President Eisenhower, was actually a pretty tough guy, tougher than people think. And he did it years ago. We will restore law and order. I will direct a completely overhauled DOJ to investigate every radical, out-of-control prosecutor in America for their illegal, racist, and reverse enforcement of the law. I'm also going to indemnify all police officers and law enforcement officials throughout the United States to protect them from being destroyed by the radical left for taking strong actions on crime. We're going to rebuild our cities into beacons of hope. Our cities are falling apart, run in all cases by Democrats. The crime in our cities, they go in and take away department stores, hundreds of people walking in, thugs, walking out with television sets, walking out with everything. And we're gonna take care of that very quickly. We're gonna take care of it. We're gonna take care of it. We will take over the horribly run capital of our nation in Washington, D.C., and clean up, renovate, and rebuild our capital so that it is no longer a nightmare of murder and crime. People killed. Every week, people are killed walking into what? They come from Nebraska. They come from South Carolina. They come from places all over the country. They go to see our beautiful Washington, D.C., and they end up with a bullet in their head. We're not going to have it. I lost a great gentleman who worked in the administration last week. You probably heard. It was a car hijacking. They didn't just hijack the car. They looked at him and they shot him, and then they took the car. These people are people we're going to deal with very tough. We're going to deal with them very tough. We're not going to be protecting the criminal. We're going to protect the people that the criminals are killing. They're killing people in our country. And we're going to have a capital that you're going to be proud of. And unlike Nikki Haley,